I first figured out that I couldn't eat gluten when I was 19. Um, I had been sick for about 6 years before figuring it out. Um, I I just felt nauseous all the time. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was I was very nauseous. I was very tired. I had these really bad headaches. I didn't know what was going on. I tried like eating healthier. We didn't know if it had to do with my diet or if it was just something. Um, and the one doctor I had like never really figured it out. But it took a really long time to get down to like the root of the problem. Um, I was actually never diagnosed with celiac disease. I don't know if I have celiac disease or not. Because when I was 19 and a sophomore, and I'd been complaining about this to the same roommate that I had for 2 years, and she knew everything that was going on. And she was like, "Have you ever thought maybe you can't have gluten? Like, have you ever thought that that might be the issue?" And I knew I was lactose intolerant, but I had never really considered um, gluten. And so I was desperate at that point. I really needed answers. I didn't have a doctor in Pittsburgh at school. I had a doctor at home. Like, I wasn't going to be going home for a while. So um, I decided I'd just give it a shot. And I took everything with gluten, and I didn't throw it away immediately. I just like set it off to the side and set everything that I could eat that was gluten free on a shelf. And I decided that for 2 weeks I was going to completely cut gluten from my diet and see if it made a difference, and then try to reintroduce it and see what happened. So I cut the gluten from my diet, and um, I felt a lot better. Unfortunately, I didn't have very much food because I was living in a dorm. I didn't have very much food that was gluten free, so I was eating for 2 weeks. I ate peanut butter and applesauce and fruit cups, and that was really almost my entire diet. About a week and a half into this, figured out that I could also eat my mashed potatoes that I had. I had a box of powdered mashed potatoes, and I figured out that I could eat those, and that was good. But I felt better than I did, even though I was like hungry all the time. I felt better than I did when I was eating gluten. And so I decided I was going to see if it was a placebo effect or if I actually like had this intolerance, if this like change in my diet was going to actually like help me feel any better. I decided to reintroduce it, which made me very, very sick again. And so spent like 2 days like eating gluten again, and I got really sick. And so I decided that that was something that I actually needed to do, and I really needed to make that change in my diet, which was rough. It changes your entire life, like having to make a change like that totally like flipped my whole life around, which I wasn't really expecting it to. I didn't know really what I was expecting. And during all this, I was in conversation with my mom, and she mailed me a box of gluten-free food. So it was like pasta, and like it was all replacements for stuff though. And I found actually that the best way to eat gluten-free is to not use like very many substitutes, like substitute a few things, but you figure out which ones are good. But it was a whole learning experience, like learning how to read labels, and like there's hidden gluten in some things, and like not every food has an allergen label, which is inconvenient. So you have to like really work to like figure out what it is you can and can't eat. The internet was a huge resource. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't live in, like, I mean, it was 2015 at the time, so I don't know what I would do if I didn't live in like the now and like had to deal with this like years ago. I probably just would have ended up staying sick because I never would have figured it out. So I fully committed to completely eating everything was gluten free, and it it was a really long adjustment period. I mean, I think I'm still going through it sometimes, but it was really like depressing for a long time because like I mean I spent 19 years eating so much gluten. Like I was very much like a bread, pasta, like I'm Italian, I eat bread, I eat pasta all the time. So eating gluten-free pasta, like you get used to it, but at first it's like it's made from corn, so it tastes like corn chip a little bit, like kind of like a taco shell. That's the only way that I could explain it when I was trying it. But like substitutes and stuff you have to get used to, and it's a huge period of adjustment because like things don't taste the same, and they don't taste good because they don't taste the same, because you're expecting something and then you get something completely different. So learning to go into it with really like low expectations for food and then being like happily surprised when things tasted good was kind of the only way that I could figure out how to really do it.